Hello there, and welcome back to Letterwatchd. This is month 3 we're doing this, I believe, right?
June 2021.
We did April, May, and now we're doing June of 2021. So if you're not familiar with this podcast, we basically go through our letterbox diaries for the month, and we go through everything we watched, and we talk a little bit about them. So I guess we'll just jump right into it.
It feels like just yesterday we were recording for
May, right? Yeah, now here we are in
June.
June.
Just
Time
flew right on by.
moves fast.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Too fast.
Too Fast and Too Furious, which is one of my films.
Okay.
So
all
June
right.
1st, I have Bo Burnham inside. I know this. I know you saw this
I
as
saw
well,
this too,
but
I didn't
you didn't add it in the
yeah,
thing.
so
It is. I didn't even give it a rating because it is just like a
it's
special.
Just really special, yeah.
But you know, it's like a. It has kind of swept up in the pop culture zeitgeist, and it's very. It's taken off like crazy, and even when I saw it, I'm like, I really hope this takes off and becomes like, you know, super great, and people really like it, and it doesn't get slept on because Netflix doesn't know how to fucking advertise anything.
Exactly. Yeah. They just released it, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, they just dropped it, and then Bo Burnham's like, oh, it's out, go check it out, and then everybody's like, holy shit, okay, and then they watched it, and then they're blown away. It was so incredible because like he does this all by himself, and it's so cool.
Exactly.
What do you have?
Some of the editing in that is ridiculous. That one where
It's so good.
He's doing the reply video, and it just keeps looping. And I'm like, I don't know how he edited it or
done.
exactly how he did that, but that was like incredible. There's some of the editing with like just it's all him. Like it's just him in his house with a Mac.
Time. It's so great.
And some of the little skits in there are so good. Like there's the one with him playing the video game of himself.
That was great.
There's some of the things with like white woman
woman's Instagram.
White woman Instagram. And of course I'm trying to watch this at work because Jake told me to watch it. And then there's some scenes where he's just like in his underwear, and I'm like, good thing. But it's very good. It's very very good, especially for him being home. And you know it gets like real at some points, and there's something that's something special he couldn't do in a normal kind of setting. You know, obviously being live, you couldn't do that because of COVID. But some of the things that he does, it's like he's opening up about some of the things that you know were making him unhappy with his life and stuff like that. That's just like. And it shows behind the scenes a little bit. I don't know if it's intentional or not, of him like messing up stuff and getting mad at himself.
Yeah, it's definitely intentional.
But
it was great.
It was very good.
It was great. I have 2 on June 4th.
I have June 6th.
Okay, so I'll do these and then you can go ahead. I watched Dead Silence from James Wan. It's one of his earlier movies.
Okay.
It's the only one that I haven't really seen from him.
Okay.
And you know, it's got some creepy moments. It's about puppets, so it's very creepy.
Okay.
But and that's kind of James Wan's thing is puppets. You know, he got the Jigsaw puppet. He's got Annabelle. And he's got all these puppets in this movie. Dead Silence. I gave it 2 stars. It's not that great, but I really thought some of the scares were great.
We're good.
A lot of like the I think back to one scene that really stuck with me. I saw this really late at night, and I saw this to like rev up to my next movie, which I'll talk about after this. But I was really like, it was a little bit terrifying. This one part where the whole plot revolves around this woman, this ventriloquist lady that died, that got murdered, and she like is basically haunting the town, and it's stupid, like it's really dumb plot, and like you know it's very silly, but the way like some of these kills are done are really graphic and messed up, and you expect that from the Saw guy. But there's one scene where they go to the morgue and they see this woman's body, and then like this little kid's there, and she like floats above the ground. And it's like the scary scene, and then she looks like a puppet, and the way they did her makeup was really terrifying. Yeah. So that was pretty creepy. Some scary moments, and you know it's very short. So it's not too bad.
Did you see any sort of things from that movie that were later done better in other movies by him? Because I know for me, when watching some earlier Denis Villeneuve movies, I see things that he's done, and then I've seen older movies it's done better.
I mean, he's got his like camera tricks, like whenever there's like a kill in the movie, there's like you know the fast like crazy handheld like zoom in that he does like with Saw, like the Saw trope. You know, every time there's a trap, it's like and there's all this shit going on. He does that here, and you know he's done that in like. I remember, I'll get to it later, but he directed another movie that I saw this month that that I rewatched, Furious 7, Fast and Furious 7, he does that in that movie too.
Movie,
so
yeah.
it's like he has his like camera tricks that
Yeah,
he probably did in Aquaman, I'm sure. He does it in like The Conjuring, I'm sure. Or maybe not. The Conjuring is usually pretty reserved when it comes to like over the top camera tricks and shit. But yeah, he has his tropes here, and it's still very much at a high point because, and this maybe made him rethink that because this was like, kind of a failure, I would say, because like the reviews are bad.
I've never even heard of it.
It's not very good, and for it to be like written by Lee Winnell, directed by James Wan, it's like I expected a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's creepy, it's scary, it's a stupid dumb movie. But check it out if you want to, if you're a fan of James Wan. So I watched this in preparation for The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. I have a video about this on Mayhem. If you guys want to watch it, I really dive into like why exactly I didn't totally love this. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. It's a fine movie. I was expecting a lot worse considering it was the first one not directed by James Wan.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wish that guy would just finish the trilogy. He always does like the first 2 and then he dips.
And he dips and leaves.
He did it with Insidious. He did it with The Conjuring, and I'm worried now that he's going to do it with Aquaman.
Did he do it with, or did he leave after Saw 1?
Yeah, he did. He didn't do any more Saws after that, so that's fine. But because he did the one and done, he left. But it's like, all right, you did the first 2, like fucking, you just gotta finish it. Pay him a ton of money, let him finish The Conjuring. So now we have a movie that feels left out. I feel like the fact that this isn't just called The Conjuring 3. And it's called The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, makes it feel like a spin-off movie, and it makes it feel like a separate thing, as opposed to like the core, like
Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, like it's got like the
different.
Subtitle, and it's got
especially if you have 1, 2, and then 3 not being 3 to title.
You know what I just realized? I said this in the video. I was saying like I don't know another franchise that does this with their titles, but I just realized Fast and Furious does this. They make all of their titles, but yeah, every single one of them is a mess. Yeah.
It's like Fast and Furious, Fast 2, or
Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift, Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7, Fate of the Furious. It's like all of them are different.
That's like the gimmick with those. So
yeah,
it's like
I guess you're right. Yeah,
and there's also like almost 10, basically 10 with Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, there's 10 of them. Yeah, no, there's 10 now.
Yeah.
And there's going to be fucking
and then
11.
10, and apparently 10's gonna, or 10, Fast and Furious 10 is going to be part 1 and 2.
We will get there.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk about those. But yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that Ed and Lorraine Warren are like the staple of this whole like Conjuring universe. They're great together. I really love those actors' chemistry. They introduce a really cool thing in the beginning of this movie where Ed has a heart attack. And so, like, he kind of is at, like, a loss the whole movie. Like, he's got to kind of, like, not run too fast. So it's kind of, like, it's a good thing to, like, ground them more as, like, oh, yeah, you guys, like, thought you could do this again, like, in the last 2. But, this time's going to be a little bit harder because now Ed has a heart attack thing. So that was great. That was, like, the one, like, cool thing that I thought they did with the characters in this one because everybody else is, like, wooden and not really only serves the purpose of, like, just like fucking getting saved.
Yeah.
But you can watch my full review of it on Mayhem Pictures. I go more into it about why it exactly didn't work for me. But go ahead, Ronnie. June 6th.
So June 6th, I watched The Terminal, and this was a movie that I've technically have already seen, but I was very young, so I didn't remember it. When I first started watching this, I really enjoyed it a lot. The concept of someone kind of being stranded like that. Basically, the whole premise is that he's from a country, he gets flown into America to do something, and the plot's very messy, but the whole point is that he flies into America, and as he flies in, his country gets like overtaken governmentally by like rebels within the state, so there's like not a country anymore. So technically his country's not recognized, so he can't leave the airport, the terminal, that's what it's called, the terminal. He's just stuck there. And I thought that was a really unique and interesting concept of being like, he can't go anywhere and they can't forcefully kick him out. So he's just stuck here in, like, exile. And there was some really clean shots in the beginning where it's just, like, him in the airport. And it just pans out. And it just keeps panning out. And you're, like, there's just, like, thousands of people just walking around this terminal. And he's just, like, lost. And I really liked the movie. And then I just kept watching it. And then you can just tell, like, the plot is just, like, has no direction. There's just things that kind of happen that just don't really go anywhere or really don't pay off in any way. he has kind of like a ragtag team of people he meets that work at the terminal. That's kind of like this nice little chemistry that he meets with people. Kind of shows that he's a good guy and that he's not like evil in any way at all. The main villain is like the guy in charge of the terminal, which is his motivate. He has no motivation to hate him so much because he's like, I want him out of the terminal for like no reason, and he like so forcefully is like just like a dick to him for no reason. Like literally, there's no reason. You think there would be. I'm watching the whole movie. It's almost like he's jealous that he's able to just be here or something, but it's never explained or touched upon really. There's like a love interest in the movie that really goes nowhere, and they don't end up together. And there's one thing at the end, if you don't mind me spoiling that, I thought was going to happen because they were going to allude to it. And I was like, if this actually happens, this is like ridiculously just stupid. At the end of the movie, there's a plane. Finally, the country gets reinstated and gets recognized by all like the major nations of the world. So they're like, okay, you're going to take your plane back, go. And he's like, but I'm here to do something else. And the whole point he's there is that he has this coffee cup, and his dad wrote to all these jazz musicians in New York City because the terminal's in New York. It's like, I don't know if it's JFK or the other one, but he went to go there to get the last guy because there was a big band. He got everyone to sign these papers and send them back to their country except this one guy. So he flew out there because his dad died to get this one last signature, and he couldn't leave the terminal. So the whole time he needs to get that. They do a very bad job at showing that this is really important. Like halfway through the movie, they're like, "Hey, do you notice he has his coffee cup?" And I'm like, "I didn't even notice he had a coffee cup." And I was watching him the whole movie, and then they talk about it like 2 or 3 times, and apparently it's a big deal to him, but they don't really touch upon it at all. And what happens is one of the friends that he meets, it's this Indian kind of janitor guy, and what I thought was gonna happen because they kind of allude to it, what happens is he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna do something about this." He runs out onto like the strip, and he has like a mop, and I thought he was literally going to run into the plane and get killed, because that's what the shot was alluding to, was that he was gonna run off into the plane. I'm like, this is ridiculous, like this is so stupid. But what ends up happening is that he just runs into it, and the plane just stops, and like a million cops come, and it's played off as like kind of a funny joke, and it's also this big sacrifice because he left India. Because he apparently killed someone because it was like some weird, just dumb thing.
Tom Hanks killed someone?
No, not Tom Hanks.
Oh,
the friend janitor guy. He killed someone in India, and so like he basically risked it all for Tom Hanks to be able to not take this airplane trip. So then he can go see the jazz guy. He goes sees him. He gets his autograph, and he goes back to the terminal to go home. And that was the movie. I gave it 2.5 stars. I still liked it.
Spielberg, right?
It's Spielberg, yeah.
It sounds pretty whack for a Spielberg movie.
Like I said, the first like half I really enjoyed because I didn't know where it was going, but then it didn't go anywhere, and just things kind of just nothing happened. So I just gave it 2.5. I liked it though. But,
okay.
Yeah.
I got June 10th. Yeah, I know you do.
Oh, you want to go first?
No, I don't. You
got anything?
So
June 10th, I rewatched Blade Runner 2049, and I rewatched this for a special reason, because if you don't know in the movie, the whole point is that Ryan Gosling's character goes to some protein farmer's house because he is a replicant. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes. I got confused for a second. I thought I was quoting some other sci-fi story.
All
anyway,
good.
He goes there. He kills a replicant. He finds they're kind of like excavating the whole land. And there's a date on a tree, and the date reads June 10th, 2021. So that's why I had to watch the movie on June 10th, 2021. And it is amazing. I gave it 5 stars. It's my 3rd favorite movie of all time. It is just cinematography, acting, story, pace, just everything. It's so good. It's amazing. And I watched it, and this is the first movie I watched. I got a new TV. That's a really nice, good TV, and it has like this cinematographer mode, or movie maker mode, and it matches how the color should look from what the director wanted it originally to look like in theaters. So I was like, this looks like I'm watching it in theaters. If you don't know, Blade Runner 2049 is like one of the best looking movies ever made. It's so just clean, and I was so happy watching this movie.
Very nice. Blade Runner is a great movie, yes.
It's so good.
Better than the first, I think.
Oh, yeah.
2049. Okay, I have a couple on June 11th. Let me see. I pull it up here. I rewatched Zodiac because I was really getting into a kick with... I wanted to start watching a bunch of Fincher movies this month. I didn't, spoiler alert, but I really was like itching. I don't know what I was doing around this time, but I was itching to rewatch Zodiac. I think it was because I was like... No, because my film was done by this point. Yeah, why did I do this? I don't know,
but it's a good movie.
I wanted to rewatch
so,
it. I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to rewatch it. I think I was trying to get inspired for another film.
Did you watch the original or like the director's cut?
I think it was the director's cut. Yeah. I don't know what's different about it, but
I don't know either. I've watched both versions.
It's longer than it says on IMDb.
Longer. I don't know what they add though. I don't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but I rewatched it. I loved it a lot, and I gave it 4.5 stars. Forgot how much I liked this one. It might be like up there as one of my favorite Fincher movies. It seems like it doesn't get talked about enough.
It's very like underrated.
Yeah, like I don't know why, but I think it's great.
It's like a murder mystery based on something real, so people are like kind of turned off. Because sometimes with movies,
and it's so like done well.
Yeah.
Like it's so like from what this got me into like a wormhole of like interviews and stuff. And it was like he like matched everything from the descriptions and stuff of all the murders.
Yeah,
it was great. I didn't even know that.
Maybe also because it's like an unsolved thing, so people,
that's true. It's
not casual audience, they don't know exactly who did it, and they're like, "There's no like actual guy." And it's not like a stereotypical like this is the main villain, casually.
Right.
But
he like this like Fincher made like so many like moves with this movie, like with you know, like just in terms of like the case, like I think he probably uncovered some shit. Like like while making this, he probably uncovered like
he might have,
shit.
Because I remember even before I even saw Zodiac in high school, I had to do a project on the Zodiac, and I was deeply terrified of that because it's just this idea that this guy is out in California just killing all these random people, calling up cops, leaving all these hints. And then just nothing ever happens from it. And the brutality of like the ways he murdered the people. Because sometimes it's in broad daylight, sometimes it was a cab driver.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so terrifying. And he would mail in like bloody clothes. Like literally he would kill like in the movie, he killed the cab driver because this happened in real life.
Yeah.
And in real life, he somehow had time to cut off clothing from the guy that he killed and send it into the mail like the next day.
It's crazy.
And people like saw this happen. So he had like 5-10 minutes to get away.
Yeah.
And of course, one time, I don't know if this is in the movie, but one time they actually almost could have caught him, but he got misidentified as a black male. So there was
that was in the movie.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, 2 cops drove past him, to match the description of the actual person, and then even he wrote in later like, "Oh, 2 cops drove right past me. They could have caught me, but they didn't. They're looking for a black guy." And it's like horrible. It's like, and of course LAPD at that point was really corrupt, so just something messed up with that.
Yeah, but it was phenomenal. I highly recommend it.
It's very good.
Robert Downey Jr. is like great in this movie too. Everybody in the movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
11th, I also watched In the Heights. It's okay. You know, it's like it's this big long musical, and it's from Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did Hamilton. Which a lot of people love. I have never seen it, but I heard great things.
It's very good, yeah.
Yeah. So we did this one, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I liked it. I don't know. I just didn't like. After a while, I kind of was like, "This is too long." Like,
how long was it?
It's like 2.5 hours.
Oh wow.
So I was like, "This is a long time," and I don't know if it needed to be this long. And then I got people telling me like, "Oh, well, musicals are like 3 hours, like on Broadway," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's Broadway though. Like that's you can't do that in a movie, like."
Oh, this is an actual movie? It's not like Hamilton where it's like a Broadway
No, it's a movie. They did a whole movie of it. Yeah, and it was
it's like Cats.
No, not. I mean, it's it's more like it's like The Greatest Showman or like La La Land in that way. Mm-hmm. It's like but like La La Land was like it was a movie.
Like it was a movie. This is like a play. This is full through.
Like, basically 2.5 hours of
a musical, yeah.
Yeah,
which could be a lot. I mean,
it was a lot.
Even for me, just watching a musical part in a movie, I'm like, come on, let's come on.
Yeah.
Let's get back to like the actual movie.
There are like a select few that I will be like, like La La Land, I fucking love it, and like I did really appreciate Greatest Showman, despite I've only seen it like once, but I did remember really liking that one. And In the Heights, like I liked a lot of the music numbers. I don't think it's like one of these movies like Frozen where it's got like a breakout song or anything like that, or like The Greatest Showman or like La La Land. It's just a bunch of like pretty solid songs that play, and I think that's what's hurting it, because there's no like standout moment in this movie. But I gave it 3.5 stars. Like I liked it. It's fine. It's not sticking with me like the other ones did.
Yeah.
and I really don't know how Lin-Manuel Miranda manages to keep like getting super crazy huge opportunities like this. Because, like, he's not delivering. Like, I really liked Moana. He did the music for that. I really liked some of the other stuff that he's done with Disney. But Mary Poppins Returns, he kind of spearheaded, and that was a huge flop. This one is a massive flop. Like, I know it's pandemic times, but, you know, you've got movies thriving.
Yeah.
Right? Conjuring 3 did quite well, and it was also on HBO Max, just like this one was. You know, but people prefer to see that in the theater. I know maybe In the Heights killed on HBO Max. I don't know. But, you know, when you have, like, Quiet Place 2 and, like, Fast 9, like, you know, breaking pandemic records, this one should have fared a bit better, especially because it is so, like, feel-good. And, you know, it's so, like, nice to, like, watch in a theater with, like, you know, air conditioning. Because the movie's about, like, a blackout and it's, like, really hot. So it's, like, it feels like a great, like, summer movie that you can go and see. Especially as we come out of the pandemic. It's feel-good. Like, I feel like it should have brought people together and been, like, this massive, like, cultural event. And maybe in an alternate reality it was, because it feels like it should be.
Yeah.
Like, I watch it, I'm like, this should be a massive movie. But it's not. So something didn't connect, and I don't know what that was, but it's weird. I think that should be studied about, like, how did this movie fail so much. Maybe it's the HBO Max thing. I don't know. But it's good. People love it. So, you know, and it dropped massively on the second weekend. It dropped a lot. Like, money-wise, did not make a lot of money that weekend. The next movie I watched same day was an early showing of Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. It's very dumb, but I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
I think Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson work very well together. Salma Hayek is also fantastic in it. I think Antonio Banderas is kind of one note to me, and pretty much everything I see him in, he's kind of the same. But I know if I see some of his earlier stuff where he did that.
Who is he again?
Puss in Boots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Puss in Boots, yeah.
You know, it was good. I liked it, but it's dumb. It's very dumb. So know what you're going in for. It's a very stupid movie.
Sometimes we need those.
We do need those. And it was very nice to see this very funny movie
yeah.
in theaters, especially, like, seeing it a little bit early. It was, like, a very, like, sudden thing. I just went with my girlfriend. It was like, oh, like, I saw they have an early showing. Do you want to go? Yeah, sure. And then we went. And it was fun. I liked it a lot. But very stupid.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
I got 19.
19, so I got a lot more. 16th. Here we go into the Vin Diesel.
Okay.
I watched The Fast and the Furious from 2001. 2.5 stars. It was a rewatch. This is the only early one that I've seen before.
Yeah.
Prior to this, I've only seen 5 on. I've seen 5, 6, 7, 8. Now 9. But I went back and I rewatched, and then I also saw the first one. I didn't see 2, 3, or 4 though.
Yeah.
Ever.
I unfortunately have not seen any of these. Any Fast.
That's crazy.
I know.
You know, it's weird to see this movie's about, like, them.
I remember you told me
robbing like DVD players, and they're like stealing them from trucks, and it's like, we got to stop these guys. They're stealing like millions of dollars worth of DVD players. And it's like, yeah, that's really bad. We should handle that. And then it's just like become fucking outer
Chaos.
space. And it's like crazy stuff. So I watched that one that night. I think the same night I watched Too Fast, Too Furious. 2 stars is my least favorite one.
2 stars for Too Fast? 2
stars for Too Fast. I don't remember did I say my rating for the first one? I gave it 2.5.
Yeah.
By the way, I did not give it a like because I don't think it's very good. Too Fast, Too Furious. 2 stars. It's stupid. It's dumb. It introduced Tyrese and Ludacris to the series. Paul Walker's in it, of course. I thought it was all right, but I didn't really like it. You know, it's dumb. It's a dumb, weird plot, and I thought it was really quite bad. But 2 stars. I like Paul Walker's, personality.
He wasn't in the first one?
He was.
He was, okay.
Sorry, yeah, he was.
Okay.
All of them are in the first one.
Okay.
And then the second one has, like, some new additions. The third one is the one where nobody's in it, and it's just kind of like a new story. It's Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Okay.
It's got a character. This is where the fucking timeline of these movies doesn't make any sense. The chronological order, ready, is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I think I kind of heard about this. Did 9 make it like this?
No.
No,
6
really?
did. 6 made it like
did?
this.
Okay.
6 has like a post-credit scene where it's like, well, technically 4 made it like this.
Okay.
To be honest, to be fair, because 4, it's a rabbit hole of stuff. So, spoiler alert for anybody.
And me included. I have no idea what he's about to say.
Yeah, this character Han
Yeah.
is in Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
he dies in this movie. He gets like hit by a car, blows up, a whole explosion and everything.
That's how it has to be in Fast and Furious.
Yes. And so then 4 brings him back, and he's a part of like Vin Diesel's crew.
Oh, okay.
So it's in the end of at the end of Tokyo Drift, Vin Diesel shows up and he's like, "Oh, Han was a good friend of mine.
He's family.
Let's race. Yeah, he's family. Let's race. Let's just race for fun. We're not gonna bet anything. He races with the main character and the movie ends." So I'm gonna give that one 2.5 stars. I didn't hate it as much as the second one. It's about on par with the first one, but with this tangent now. So then in the 6th one, so Han is in these movies.
Yeah, he's in 4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. So throughout all 3 of these, you're like, all right, when's he going to Tokyo? Because as soon as he goes to Tokyo, he's gonna die.
He's gonna be dead.
So at the end of the 6th, so in the 5th one, they do like a little wink and nudge to the audience, and he dates Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman in these movies.
Yeah.
This is like kind of like one of her first big
Yes.
roles. She's in 4, 5, and 6, and so this character Han. At the end of the 5th one, they're driving away. They made all this money, and then Wonder Woman's like, "Where should we go now?"
Yeah.
And then Han goes, or she goes, "Should we go to Tokyo?" And he's like, "Not yet."
Not
So it's
yet.
like, all right, you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then the 6th one ends with, "Okay, I'm gonna go to Tokyo," because then in the 6th one, Wonder Woman dies.
Okay.
So she dies. So he's like, I have to I fulfilled a promise to her. I have to go to Tokyo. She
mentioned
always wanted to go there, And
She
so
mentioned it
go.
one time at the end of our 5th movie.
Yeah, she mentioned it once, and now I feel like I need to go there.
I'm obligated.
Yeah, and then that one, and then 6 ends with Jason Statham being the one that killed him in Tokyo Drift.
Oh,
so
wow.
Jason Statham rams into Han, kills him.
Oh,
And then
okay.
and that picks up with 7, where Jason Statham is now hunting all of them because of what they did to his brother in the 6th one.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So that's everything there. It's a fucking rabbit hole. And then on the 18th, I watched Luca. Disney Pixar's Luca.
Yep.
I watched on the 18th. I gave it 3.5 stars. Even on Pixar's like kind of bad day, it's still pretty good. This is probably one of my least favorite Pixar movies for sure.
And you gave it 3.5.
I gave it 3.5. It's solid. For sure, Cars 2 terrible.
Yeah.
Good Dinosaur pretty bad. I would put Luca around like Monsters University, like the college one, the prequel. I would say it's on par with that.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a cute kids movie. Kids will love it. It's got kind of a fun little plot, and it's very simple. It's a simple movie. There's really no stakes.
Okay.
The plot has it's very like fun and just laid back. Like there's not much. I mean, I get like the stakes are kind of like, oh, they're fish people, and like the townspeople don't like fish people. So it's kind of like
it's racism.
A little bit, yeah. It's got like some themes of like accepting people for who they are, that sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean the plot is like they want to buy a Vespa. That's literally the plot of the movie.
Okay.
And it's a lot of people have been saying it's like Call Me by Your Name, and it is kind of, but it's pretty good. I liked it. Okay. It's fine. And then the 18th also. You have 19th.
I have 19.
Okay, so then after that, I'll let you go. Fast and Furious, the 4th one. The 4th one is called Fast and Furious.
Yeah, not the Fast.
No,
Fast.
no the. This one was kind of the one that did the shift to like, oh, these are kind of fun now.
Yeah.
This one did take itself a little bit too seriously. That's why I gave it 3 stars instead of. Because
I've heard 4, 5, and 6 is like when it gets really good.
4 is fine. 5 is great.
5 and 6. Yeah.
5 and 6 are both very good.
Mm-hmm.
This one I gave 3 stars. I liked it. It was a return to form for the franchise. It brings Vin Diesel back, Paul Walker back, and the rest of the cast that we know and love. Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster. They're all back.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, John Cena. I know they're both on it.
Dwayne shows up in the 5th one.
Oh, okay.
And then John Cena shows up in the 9th one, which we'll talk about a little bit soon. So yeah, that's the 18th. I thought this one was a little bit dull. Like it was just kind of like really bleak.
Yeah.
Kind of. I was just like, this doesn't.
Bleak, so it was like overly dark.
No, it wasn't like overly dark. It was just like the color of it was
like
kind of bleak.
actually just the way it looks.
Bleak,
okay, I thought you meant like the
I mean, some
of
the plot was a little bit bleak. Like this is the one where like his girlfriend dies, but then she comes back in the 6th one, so it doesn't.
It's just like
fucking,
okay,
it's a whole mess.
Yeah.
But like she dies in like the first 10 minutes, and then it was like, oh shit, okay, this one's a little darker. It was around that time where everything was kind of like dark, where they did Dark Knight. Now it's like, oh,
okay,
now
all movies gotta be dark
it a little bit
and
seriously.
Yeah.
So this was that one for this series. So yeah.
And then on June 16th, I have a movie called Wildlife.
19th.
19th.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, June 19th.
I'm like, I just don't Yeah, Wildlife.
I watched a movie called Wildlife. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. I thought it was fine. It's by Paul Dano, if I pronounce his name right.
Yeah, he directed it, huh?
He directed it and wrote it with somebody else. I thought some of the cinematography in this movie is pretty good. I thought this movie would have fared much better as like a stage, not a musical, but like a stage acted movie. Just the way it was kind of set up where each act was evenly, like, I knew this was Act 1 and it was ending. I knew Act 2, I knew Act 3.
Right.
Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. I thought he was in it. The only reason I watched it because I saw he was in it and I saw it was directed by Paul Dano. And I was like, okay, I'll watch this. It was on Netflix. He was in it for a lot less than I thought he was going to be in it.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Jake Gyllenhaal. Lily's in it and then he leaves because he's in it and like... His whole character is that he's this guy who like he doesn't want to hold down like one job. He'll just keep leaving to go to another job, and he keeps bringing his family with him. So essentially, in this, he loses his job because he's being too friendly and talky, which is like an very old time. It was the time I forgot what time this is, but it's older. It's like 1950s or 60s or 40s, 1960s.
Okay.
So like back then, everything wasn't as casual. So he's like, you can't talk to customers like you're like friends with them at all. It was on a golf course. So he loses his job, then he goes off to fight wildfires. That's what it's called, Wildlife, because it's I forgot what they referenced in the movie. But yeah, cinematography was good. The story was fine. I just thought this would have been much better as like an actual stage acted movie.
Was this A24?
No, it's not A24. It's an indie movie, obviously.
No, for sure, because I remember this was playing at like an indie theater by our house.
I don't know what studio would have done this. Hang on, let me look.
Maybe it was like Focus or something.
It's called June Pictures, Sight Unseen Pictures, 9 Stories Productions, FIC. Maybe IFC Films.
IFC, I recognize, yeah.
But it is indie.
Yeah, I remember this was playing at the indie theater by our house, and I was like, I meant to go see it, and I just never did. That's my story with this movie. I never saw it.
The kid is like an actual grown adult. Like he's only like 15 or 16, and he's working, driving. He's like doing all this stuff because the dad just left.
Yeah.
So like this movie isn't bad. It just, for a first time movie, I think it was very well done. But again, I think as a live acted movie or production, this would have been a lot better and more entertaining to watch. And I have June 20. What do you have?
I have 19th. I watched Fast 5. I gave it 4 stars.
It
was the turn of the franchise. It was very good. And that's all I have to say about that. It was very good.
On June 20, I watched Chinatown, which I've been meaning to see for a while now, and it was very good. I gave it my own custom 4.25 stars. It was very well made. Unfortunately, the director who made it, Roman Polanski, is not so great. But
yep. He directed this. Huh?
It was very well made. Jack Nicholson is very good in this movie. This is kind of the first movie I've seen him in where he's not like, not evil, crazy, but not crazy. Like he's actually like normal, kind of sane person. Basically, I would have gave this 4.5, but some of the things, it has some of those quirk of older movies where some things are kind of confusing or not exactly explained fully. Where there's some times where he's talking to people and he knows them, but it's not exactly clear if it's someone he's seen already in the movie because everyone kind of looks the same and you only see him for like a second or two, really. So that was kind of confusing. Some of the plot is a little confusing. I definitely have to rewatch this movie again because I do recognize that it was, at the time, it was obviously critically acclaimed. And even now, it's still very good.
Yeah, I really need to see this.
Basically, the plot of it is around water in L.A. And it's actually really intriguing and interesting. And the movie at the end takes such a dark turn that I did not expect for 1970s. Mm-hmm. And I'll only say this, and I won't actually spoil anything. It takes like an Incendies turn. And I was like, wow, okay. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay. Well, I didn't like that movie.
So I know. I love it. But it takes... The plot takes that kind of turn, and I'm like, I did not expect this to happen in a movie from 1974. And then it was very good. Yeah, 4.25 stars. I liked it.
4.25. I have a couple on your next one. What, 23?
23.
All right, so I got 20 and 21. Fast and Furious 6. I give it 3.5. This one was pretty good. It was not as good as the 5, but it was solid. Furious 7, which is a rewatch. Fast and Furious 6 was also a rewatch. Why didn't I say that? I'm going to fix that right now. There we go. Furious 7 is great. It's the one where we lost Paul Walker, unfortunately, and it's very sad. But they managed to pull off the CGI, I think, the best out of any other movie, which like they kind of had to.
They had to do that, yeah.
But it was solid. Like I remember being like, well, like I can see now how like you can bring actors back to life, on the screen.
Yeah.
And I think that they could do that without any spoilers for 9. I think they kind of might do that for 10.
Oh wow.
I think
okay.
they might bring Paul Walker back CGI
like full.
Potentially.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they allude to it at the end of this one.
Because
at the end of 9.
every other thing that's tried to do it,
it's hard.
Specifically Star Wars has been a train wreck.
Yeah, right. But and this one you can see it. It's got that little like rubber face.
But what year is this?
2015.
So
like they came
it's
a long
been
way,
6 years. It should be a lot better than. I mean, it's amazing now, but you think it'd be a little better.
Yeah.
Considering in 2015.
I mean, Captain Marvel did it very well with Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson.
Very well.
Well,
was
the
like
thing
the best
is that he's not dead, so that helps him in their favor a lot. Obviously, Carrie Fisher and spoilers for I don't know what movie, but Carrie Fisher's
Rogue
dead.
One and then Tarkin from that, but he's been long dead too.
And then Paul Walker. Spoilers for Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker. He's all old, but for some reason
that looked really bad.
They didn't use him, and
that was also TV. That's like a different.
Yeah, it looked horrible though. It still looked really bad.
But I think there's ways to make it better, and I think they might utilize it, assuming it's okay with Paul Walker's family.
You would think they would be because they're honoring him in a way.
Yeah,
it's always like it's not like a malicious way.
I can see how it's very tricky though, because it needs to look good. Because if it looks bad, it's like this is disrespectful and fucked up.
Exactly.
But yeah, I really liked this one. This is the one from James Wan, so of course I'm very like partial to it.
Yeah.
I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. It was a rewatch. 21st, I watched Fast and Furious 8, which is the first one without Paul Walker. Mm-hmm. So I think it was already kind of at a disadvantage. But it's got The Rock. It's got Jason Statham. It's got Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is... I'm going to talk about this more with the 9th one. Vin Diesel takes this series too seriously. Whereas everybody else is having so much fun. Okay. He is treating it like a drama. Like there's a whole like.
Well, isn't that like some of the charm to it? Is that he takes it his character takes it so serious.
It used to be a charm, but I think once we get to the 9th one and particularly this 8th one, the 8th I probably would give it a lower rating now because I don't know what I was thinking this morning when I gave it 3.5 stars, but I think I would give it like 3, maybe 2.5.
Okay.
I like it. Like I think it's good. Like I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun movie,
but like. I don't know. It's very strange. It was like, without Paul Walker, it did actually make a big impact.
Really, I didn't know he was because I've never seen any of them. I don't know how big of a
he was like the co-lead. Yeah, I mean,
he was
like
the co-lead.
He was like the guy
with Vin Diesel.
With Vin Diesel,
yeah.
So he's part of the one that like made it because his acting has always been a little bit like hammy in these.
Who, Vin Diesel?
No, Paul Walker.
Oh, Paul Walker.
So he was like having fun with it too.
Yeah.
And it was cool. But, like, Vin Diesel, now he's, like, just alone taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And it was kind of... It felt also like it was Paul Walker's series along with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, exactly.
It always felt like that. They were kind of equal.
Yeah.
And now that Paul Walker's no longer here, Vin Diesel's kind of the guy. So it's like, now it's, like, all him, and it's kind of bad.
Yeah.
So this one has him, like, with a plot to, like... He has, like, a kid... with like the woman that he slept with because he thought his girlfriend had died. So he slept with her, and she's played by Chris Hemsworth's wife in the movie, which is kind of fun because I didn't know who she was, but now she's like actually an actress and is like in these movies. That's really cool. So they had like a plot in like I think 5 they got together, maybe no 6 because maybe it was 5 because she had died by that point, the girlfriend. Yeah, so 5 they're kind of together. 6 they like have this that they like go off together and then they find out that the girlfriend's alive and then from there it's been like she's like, oh, I had a baby but I didn't want to tell you because I don't want to be a damper on the whole your girlfriend's alive shit.
Also everyone just flying around with cars and just doing chaos.
Yeah, and this one, so Vin Diesel's separate from a lot of the action in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of like doing his thing with the villain who's played by Charlize Theron, which is great. I can't believe they got her for this. And she's like still in them now. It's ridiculous. So Vin Diesel has his own plot, and it's not as interesting as the stuff that's going on with like the main crew, with like The Rock and all them.
Yeah.
Because The Rock is in this movie a lot, and he's with the Fast and Furious crew, so it's like, oh, wow, this is like a lot better. So it's kind of weird. I was like, Vin Diesel's part of this movie kind of sucks, and then like The Rock is having a lot of fun with like the gang.
Yeah.
And then like the action there with them is really great. And this came out in the year where like all of the heroes were bad. 2017. Okay. I don't know what it was, but it was like this and like Transformers had like Optimus Prime be bad.
Oh.
I remember all the trailers like came out around the same time, and it's like, oh, the heroes are bad, and it was strange.
I hate Dark Knight. I mean the
Last Night.
I hate that movie so much.
I know you do.
I'm sorry.
That's great.
I just had to bring it up.
But yeah, this was like around that time where it's like, oh, now Dom's bad and Optimus Prime's bad. What the fuck's going on? Except in that movie, it was like 2 seconds and it made no sense.
Yeah.
In this one, it makes a little bit more sense. And once you find out why he's doing all this, he's being manipulated, blackmailed.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense, but it's still very dumb. But I liked it. It's fine. I next have the 23rd as well.
I do too.
So go ahead.
On 23rd, I watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I've been meaning to see this also for a while because Leonardo DiCaprio. This is like Leonardo DiCaprio's first like breakout role, and he is unbelievably good in this movie. Cause
really,
to the point where in real life, some people thought he was actually like handicapped.
Right.
And when he showed up to the premiere, they're like, he's actually not handicapped. Like, his performance in this is amazing. I'm very surprised Johnny Depp's in this because it just. I've always just known him as like these crazy roles that are just not normal, and this is like a very kind of just tame, normal role for him. Essentially, they kind of live in this hick kind of west area, and the mom is like this huge woman, like she's actually like 400, 500 pounds. I don't know what actress this was. I don't know if it was like
probably makeup and prosthetics.
No. I mean, yeah, if it was prosthetic, it looks really believable because I was like, this is like an actual this huge woman. Then during the movie, I was like, I don't know how they got like an actress that was already large like this, but you're right, it's probably prosthetic or something like that.
Probably stuffed her clothes.
Yeah.
And stuff, yeah.
But I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. I kind of thought it was a simple plot. Gilbert Grape has a lot going on for himself. That's what's eating him. He's got his job. He's like sleeping with some woman who's married. Well, not sleeping, but like kind of hooking up. He's got the mom he's dealing with. He's got this new love interest, this girl that he meets, and he's got his brother, and it's just like all this chaos that just makes him just like his life so difficult, and you can kind of see him just like I just hate this so much with all this stuff he's going with, and the movie ends like so dramatically for no reason. Basically, do you want me to tell you?
Sure.
Basically, at the end of the movie, the mom dies after being like, I finally want to start getting better. You've probably seen it because there's a scene where Leonardo's like, Mama, wake up!
I've seen that, yeah.
And what happens is they call doctors and they're like, yeah, she's died. And then they're like, we literally need to bring like a crane in to take her body out, like in a not joking way at all. They're like, we actually need. There's no way we're gonna get her downstairs. So what they do? Wait for this. What they do is they take everything out of the house. And they burn the house down with her body in it. Because he was already, the Johnny Depp's character was already like, Gilbert Grape was already like, I want to get a new house. Because the foundation, because what happened was the dad killed himself. So that's what made her get all large. And she kind of is like bedridden. But she's just in this couch, like on the first floor, so there's a basement. And the wood starts getting all messed up, like underneath the foundation, because she's just staying there.
Oh my God.
And they try to fix it, and they're trying to be sensitive to her because obviously they don't want to be like allude to her being large. So he's like, this house is a wreck. Like I want to get a new house. So that like they burn the house down, and the movie kind of ends. It was just nice little just time. 3 stars. It would be 3.5, but some of the stuff with the love interest just kind of doesn't really go anywhere, and it's kind of one of those movies that ends with like, 1 year later. And the love interest comes back, and they're like, okay, everything's fine and normal, and it just ends. I'm like, okay. But I gave it 3 stars. I still liked it. I still think it's a good movie.
Yeah. 23rd, I have Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, that's coming up later for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I probably would go higher, or I would definitely go lower on Fast 8 because I gave that 3.5. That's crazy. That is not on par with a Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
This was a movie that made me like just feverishly like look up all the conspiracy theories, all the crazy shit about it.
Yep.
And I went down a rabbit hole there, but and some crazy shit I found. But basically, yeah, it's a pretty solid movie. Mm-hmm. I think they're really great performances from Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
They're very, very good.
I didn't know that I needed to watch this movie because like I'm currently like writing a duology of like romance films.
Yeah.
And this one really kind of portrays it well with what I'm trying to go for. Mm-hmm. So I thought this was like really great to watch in terms of like the fights that they have.
Yes.
And, you know, some of the feverish like, you know, night stuff that's going on with Tom Cruise and the crazy stuff. But yeah, it was weird. It was fucking wild, and I really, really, really liked it. And yeah, I give it 4 stars. I might go higher if I see it again one day. The score is really one thing that kind of doesn't make it very good for me. Because it's just so repetitive and it's the same thing over and over.
I don't even remember it.
It was like just a piano thing that keeps going.
But
I think that was in part because Kubrick did die like immediately after screening this to
And
the
that's part
studio,
of the
which
conspiracy
is
stuff.
scary, especially with some of the stuff that's going on in this movie.
Yeah.
It's a little bit sus. So I think they tried to just leave it alone because if Kubrick didn't tell them to put it in there, they didn't. Because
and maybe
it's
the
like
piano was a placeholder, and then he died, and then they're like,
yeah, they were just like, this is fine then. Because it's like maybe Kubrick approved that bit of music, and then everything else he hated. And they're like, well, we don't know where else to go with this because it's him, and we don't
I'm
wanna
going to try to reserve
with it.
any taking back any comments because I just watched this later. But yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And then what do you have next?
I have 27.
Okay, I have 24
Yeah.
and 26. All right, so 24th, I did it. I saw F9. The name of the movie is fucking F9. I gave it 2.5 stars. It's a mess. I liked it, though. I felt the same way. This is not a good comparison, but this is how I felt. I like this movie more than the one I'm about to mention. And it's another 9th one. This felt the same as, like, Rise of Skywalker to me.
Yeah.
Where it's just, like, long, crammed to the brim with shit, and it feels a little bit off.
Yeah.
You know how Rise of Skywalker just feels a little bit off?
Yes, it feels off. Exactly.
And it feels like a bad movie, you know? F9 feels like a bad movie because it is a mess and it makes no sense and it's ridiculous. And it feels like they're just, like, looking at all the memes online and they're like, oh, shit, like, let's do that. And they do it. They did all the things that the memes said. They went to space. They went to space in this movie. And it's insane. And it doesn't make any sense. But apparently, now there's articles coming out being like NASA helped them with the movie. So it's like, can that happen then? I don't know. It doesn't. It's ridiculous and wild.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked it though. I ended up being like the start of the movie. I was really like, I hate this so much. Like, I really liked because, again, with Vin Diesel, he takes it so seriously, and the plot of this one is, like, eye-rollingly serious sometimes with him, where it's like, oh, it's like this whole backstory, and he has a brother that was not in any of the previous movies,
I've heard about this,
John Cena, and then it's like, they finally show this moment from that they mentioned in the first movie that put Vin Diesel in prison for a long time, because basically his father dies in a car race. They show it in the movie. So after all these years, we finally see the thing that he's been dealing with. And John Cena had a hand in killing his father.
Yeah, I remember I watched a review, and the guy's like, you couldn't think he just made an accident, but had an accident. Like, Vin Diesel immediately he killed the dad.
I know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's why that was the only thing I remember from whatever review I watched.
Yeah, because when Vin Diesel went to prison, they were, like, working on cars in jail. And then, which is so stupid. And so, like, there's like something there where, like, Vin Diesel, like, is doing the engine, and then the two guys are there, like, oh, careful, like, if something goes wrong there, the whole thing will fucking blow up. And then Vin Diesel's like, yo, but what if that's what John Cena did to my dad? And then he gets out of prison, and then, like, he confronts John Cena about it, and then he's like, if I win in this race, you have to keep driving and never come back. And so that's what happens. So he wins the race, and then he keeps driving and never comes back. Until the events of this movie. And it makes no sense. They bring Han back.
Yeah.
The guy who died in the third one and then was in 4, 5, and 6. It makes no sense how he's still alive.
3 is after 9.
3 is after 6.
I mean, 3 is after...
3 is after 6.
So when's 9 in the timeline?
He's alive. He came back.
He's alive? Okay.
Yeah, he's alive.
Right.
This one is now current day. It's back.
Okay.
It's back on track anyway. We had a little run in there with the 6, 7, 8 timeline, and 3 was somewhere in there.
Because he was like, I'm so upset. Or doesn't Vin Diesel like own it or something technically?
I heard that. I don't know though.
I don't know if that's real, but they're probably like, we're so upset we did Tokyo Drift because we're like, this makes everything so complicated.
I know it is, but the thing is, I think the director Justin Lin had this in mind.
To do what?
To do what he did with the
Okay.
because these are all his movies. Not all 9 of them, but he did 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, okay.
So I think he had that all in mind because those are the movies that where all the fuckery happened.
Okay,
with Han.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't. What he didn't do was he didn't do the Jason Statham tag, where Jason Statham's the one that kills him. He didn't like that the character because apparently this is a whole other thing. Han is from another movie that Justin Lin directed prior.
For a second, I think like Han's from another universe. I was oh my god.
I mean, kind of. There's a movie that Justin Lin directed called Better Luck Tomorrow, which I actually saw in film class. it's a good little movie. I think it's a foreign film actually. But Han is in that movie. Mm-hmm. The character Han is in that movie.
Yeah.
And he's smoking all the time. And they actually carry that over because he's smoking all the time in that one. And then in this one, he's eating chips all the time. So in one of the movies, Wonder Woman goes, I know you're an ex-smoker. You're eating chips all the time. You got to keep your hands in your mouth busy at all times. That's what smokers do.
Yeah.
So it's a cool little nod for people that really know. So that was really cool. So he was upset because Han is kind of like Justin Lin's baby, like that character. He's like, this is my like addition to the universe.
Yeah.
And you killed him to like jumpstart the plot of the next one, and that's like my character.
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
Because I was going to bring it back anyway.
So then, like, a whole online thing happened where it was, like, hashtag justice for Han, and it was, like, a whole thing.
Jeez.
So now for this one, they brought him back, and it makes absolutely no sense.
Did they even explain it at all?
They did, and it was stupid.
It was
I don't even want to get into it, because I forgot most of it, because it makes no sense. It was a convoluted plot. Kurt Russell was involved. Kurt Russell shows up.
He's also passed. Isn't he deceased?
No, he's alive.
Who am I thinking of?
Kurt Russell's alive.
There's someone I'm thinking of that has Russell, or was from, like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something.
Burt Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds, that's what I'm thinking of.
We'll talk about him in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What do I you said 27?
I have 27, which Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah.
All right, so 26th, I have THX 1138. It's
wow, that's a title.
It's George Lucas's like first film.
Oh.
Or
okay.
no, it might not
isn't
be.
Isn't there another name for it? I thought there was another. I swear.
No, it's the name of the robot. THX 1138. It's a whole reference in Star Wars. That's like his thing.
Okay.
So the movie's about like androids and shit. So the movie's basically about like this android who like falls in love, and shit happens. I think I don't remember.
I think.
Yeah, people in the future live in a totalitarian society. A technician named THX-1138 lives a mundane life between work and taking a controlled consumption of drugs that the government uses to make puppets out of people. As THX is without drugs for the first time, he has feelings for a woman, and they start a secret relationship. It's directed by George Lucas. It's very short, which was I appreciated.
How long was it? Like 90 minutes?
86 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I think this was another movie where George Lucas went back and actually did some effects work. Mm-hmm. You know how he did that with Star Wars.
Yes. Oh, so he went back again. Okay.
I think with this one, he also did that because I was watching it on HBO Max and I'm like, this movie looks really good for 1971.
Yeah.
Because like there's some VFX shots and I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And this looks very like modern.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like, creatures walking in front of the camera and shit.
Yeah.
This one is like actually enhances the story and it's really good.
Yeah.
I gave it 3.5 stars. I liked it. I don't think it's as groundbreaking, as incredible as like some of the other movies. I mean, obviously Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a good start, and you could see the potential and the talent there, and with like world building.
Yeah.
So that was really great. I liked it. It's like the lesser Blade Runner, so I feel like maybe that's why people don't really talk about this one.
That plot slightly reminds me of 1984.
Okay, I didn't see or read that.
It's a book. I think it might be a movie too.
Maybe.
But in the movie, in the book, it's basically a totalitarian society where Big Brother's watching everybody at all time, and the main character gets involved with another woman, after being like, it was just it's unnecessary, but yeah, it reminded me of that.
Okay.
That kind of story.
All right, you've got 27.
I got 27. I got Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah, I also love this movie. I gave it 4 stars. I really was wanting to give it 4.25. But the way it just ended, I was like, And some of the stuff kind of just side tangents and doesn't exactly go anywhere, but sort of goes somewhere. And if this movie ended somewhere where actually something happened at the ending, I would have given it 4.25 or 4.5. I really, really enjoyed this movie. At one point, I was like, I feel like this is almost his best work. Stanley Kubrick's best work.
Really?
Because the way everything was getting set up, where everything's getting set up where the wife's like, I want to have sex, or like all the sex stuff with her, and then him going out and trying to get some, and then he doesn't, and I kind of like that. And it's also weird that throughout the movie, which is not weird, but weird in a good way, that like almost all the actors or all the other people that Tom Cruise talks to, it's almost like sex related in a way, almost.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's strange where it's like you have that guy from the hotel that he talks to, looking for his friend, and the guy's, I think he's gay, or either way, he looks like he's very interested in Tom Cruise in like a sex way. And I really like this movie. I think obviously the best scene is the scene which is like a feeling I haven't gotten in a movie ever that I've always wanted, which is like almost horror in like a surreal way where it's not scary, but you're like, this is like terrifying.
The whole cult thing.
The whole cult.
It was scary.
Thing, where because you have the music and everything, and I'm like,
it's fucking crazy.
This is like, because I could see that being real, and apparently it probably is real.
Who knows?
Some things like that.
I don't want to die. So.
Yeah, I don't want to die, but yeah, and it's scarier to think that if something like this might be real, it's right around our corner because we live right by the city, and he drives out of the city to go to this mansion where this happens. Yeah. So it's probably near our doorsteps where anything like this could happen.
Maybe.
But yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I wanted to give it higher, but the way it ended and
it's
just
a little
like
bit of a
whatever.
weak ending.
Yeah.
I saw you have 28.
I have 28.
You have 2 on the 28th.
Yeah.
I have 1 on the 28th. Boogie Nights.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
From 97.
Yes.
It's I give it 4.5 stars. I loved it. I was like surprised how much I really liked this movie. It's a movie about porn, and that's it. It really goes there with it a lot of the time.
Yeah. It is Paul Thomas Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson. It made me want to watch more of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
I was like just so like caught up in the story of it and like how it was like kind of this like sprawling epic of some of this guy's life.
Yep.
And like just these like crazy cast of characters that come in and out of his life.
Mm-hmm.
I think Burt Reynolds is a fucking revelation in this movie.
That's right. He's in this
so
movie.
good.
Yeah.
He's so good. And it makes me upset because I read some trivia after this movie, and like he was like appalled by it after he saw it, and he had regretted doing it. And he won a Golden Globe for it, and he kind of like distanced himself from the movie after that.
Yeah. And
he was like, I don't want to promote it. I don't want to help you with it. I did it. It's done.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of it, and I'm gonna move on.
Mm-hmm.
And then people started loving it.
Yeah.
And loving him in it. And
it is because it is such a good movie.
It's fantastic, and it's like
and for him, I don't know if it's his first movie, but it's Paul Thomas Anderson. I think it's like first major movie.
Probably.
I think what year is that?
97.
Hard 8 might have came out like right after, but yeah, that movie for it being like his first major movie is like incredible.
And Mark Wahlberg too.
Exactly,
like and he's not a great actor in this, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah,
and it's like he's just kind of like
he's
this like,
just
slow
a young
guy.
Yeah,
like this little like young guy who's kind of like in over his head.
Yeah,
and it's like, he's like, I just think back to that scene. It's like I see this name, and it's got like these big like purple neon lights, and it's just like so powerful, and the sign
and you're like,
this guy's just
like an idiot,
and then it shows the whole like dirt jiggle, and then it breaks,
and
it's like, and then Burt Reynolds was like, that's a fucking great name.
Yeah.
And then people started liking his performance in the movie.
Yeah.
And he won a Golden Globe for it, and he got nominated for an Oscar, but he didn't win. And people think it's because he distanced himself so much and kind of disrespected the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he fucked himself.
Yeah.
But it was. I truly, like, this is like, I was thinking about this while I was at work the other day. That's like the only movie where I'm like, I don't think anybody else could have played that role that well.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just, I don't know what it was about it. He's not like over the top or anything. He's just great.
I know, yeah.
There's one thing that I saw Tarantino criticize about this movie, though.
What was it?
And I kind of agree with it. The movie that they make, like the cop thing, where it's like, he's kind of like, I want to make actual films and make it really good.
Yeah.
The cop thing looks bad.
It
like
does look
really
bad.
Yeah,
and
so
it does.
Tarantino's like, you have like the slow zoom as he's like, this is the best work we've ever done. Tarantino's like, I don't think he thinks that. Like true, like if this was a real person,
exactly,
that's a bad movie.
Yeah. But I think the whole point is like all he knows is like pornos.
I know.
So
it's like it's got a story.
Like dumb.
Then, it is supposed to be dumb. But I don't know. It looked bad either way.
Yeah.
But because even Tarantino's like, there's like actual porns that are like porno movies.
I know
that are of this quality, and it's not much better than that.
Yeah.
Besides, like it has John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And John C. Reilly's also great.
He's so good in this movie too. Yeah. And what's his face?
Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah,
he was good too. Yeah. They were everybody in this movie came to play. It was very good. I really like Julianne Moore too.
I meant to mention when I saw God, what's the movie called with Ryan Gosling and
Crazy Stupid Love.
When I meant to say this when I watched that originally. For some reason, whenever I see her in a movie, because she's also in Magnolia, which is another Paul Thomas.
I gotta watch that now.
She looks like she has like oily, greasy Vaseline on her. I don't know what it is. Because when I saw Magnolia, I saw this, and I saw Crazy Stupid Love. Just only her, no one else in the movie. Only her. She just looks like she has Vaseline, just like her character.
That's so weird.
It's like she's like shiny. every movie she's in. It's very weird. It's only her character. Because I was watching Crazy Stupid Love, and I'm like, she looks like shiny, like weird. And no one else in the movie looks like that.
That's strange.
And in Magnolia, she just looks like shiny in her movies.
I'll have to look that up. That's weird.
I don't know if it's real or not, but it's just, for me, I'm like watching movies she's in. I'm like, she just looks like shiny and just like weird.
That is weird. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have 28th, right?
I did want to say one last thing though about Boogie Nights. It does give off, it kind of precursors some of the stuff in Magnolia, where stuff's kind of connected in this like kind of branching way. Like, 'cause remember at the end of the movie, you have the guy from Iron Man, Warhammer, or what's his name? The black guy.
Oh, Don Cheadle.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. Yeah. Where he's just like at the donut shop, and just like people get killed, and just some weird thing happens like that.
I was nervous at that scene. I was like, is he gonna die or get like framed?
Because something like that happens in Magnolia. It's very different, but a scene where like something just crazy happens.
I'll watch it.
So it's kind of like this idea that he kind of plays with, where he's like, all these things are kind of connected, but they don't matter in any way. That's where Magnolia. And also the whole drug thing, I thought was funny that Dr. Octavius is
that was weird.
This weird drug guy.
All right, go ahead.
So June 28th, I watched 2 movies. I first watched Bonnie and Clyde, which was funny because that was another what's it called? What's her face? I gotta look up something Hathaway. Not
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, Faye Hathaway. She was also in what was it? Oh, she was also in Chinatown.
Faye Dunaway.
Faye Dunaway, sorry, yeah. Faye Dunaway.
Anne Hathaway's like now.
No, that's why I got confused.
Gotcha.
Faye Dunaway, she was also in Chinatown, which I didn't mean to do that at all. I watched Bonnie and Clyde because I've heard it was one of these, like, revolutionary movies at the time that changed Hollywood. And I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. I think it's a product of its time. I definitely see how from 1967 that this was such a different movie. I still think, though, that obviously Citizen Kane and maybe Samurai or Seven Samurais are better movies, but probably just during the time period that this was such a different movie. I think it was really good for the time. I gave 3 stars. I liked it. Not a lot to say about it. I think the performances are fine. I'm saying it 3 times out. It's just a product of its time, really. And then later that day, I watched Road to Perdition. And I was so surprised how much I liked this movie. I gave it 4 1/4. It's by Sam Mendes, and he made obviously he made American Beauty, and I'm gonna actually talk about that a little later too. He also made I haven't seen Skyfall, but he made 1917, and he made Jarhead. When I first started watching this, I was like, I really don't like this. Like, I'm not in the mood for this. Like, I wasn't grooving with it at all. Like, I was just like, this is like one of those weird movies that's from like 1920s. That's the time is 1920s. I don't think I'm gonna really like this. And just watching it more and more, I started liking it more and more. And the cinematography, I started noticing how well the movie was shot and made. It was the same cinematographer who did American Beauty. And I just really, really enjoyed this movie. Everything kind of came together. There was no loose ends. Everything made sense. The story was everything was just very good. The only thing that I could see, the only thing I didn't really love was that there's kind of this side tangent during the middle of the movie that doesn't exactly go anywhere. And the movie kind of just also, like Eyes Wide Shut, kind of goes to an ending. But the ending's actually really good. So I was very surprised how much I liked this movie. So I gave it 4 1/4. Really liked it a lot.
Gotcha.
It was on Netflix.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Those are your 2 for the 28th.
Yeah.
I have 29th. I watched My Left Foot, the story of Christy Brown. It is. I don't know if it's Daniel Day-Lewis's, like, one of his earlier films, but I mean it's certainly one of his earlier films because it's 1989. But he's very good in it, of course. Yeah, I think he won an Oscar for this one.
Yeah.
It's like one of his 4 because he's like a great fucking legendary actor.
I think he's only won 3. I think this
3.
and then There Will Be Blood. I don't know the other one though.
I think probably Lincoln, right? He won. For
yeah,
Lincoln.
Probably Lincoln. And then Phantom Thread.
Yeah, he didn't win Phantom Thread.
He didn't?
No.
Oh, but he got nominated.
He got nominated. He got nominated for like 7.
Yeah,
he won 3.
Yeah, which is
4,
still crazy. You
still
get nominated
wild.
for 7 movies.
For him to win 3 is like top tier.
Yeah, that's top tier all time.
Yeah.
Only like him.
Maybe Meryl Streep.
I think him and Denzel Washington. I think.
Denzel won 3.
Oh, maybe only won 1 or something.
Either way, like
amazing.
Top shelf. I don't think he's won. But he's won the most Oscars of I think
he's tied at least,
any male actor for sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic actor. This movie, I think the performance is better than the movie.
Yeah,
it's one of those where it's
was like watching Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, same deal. Where it's like you know, it's a good story. It's an inspiring story, but it wasn't done incredibly well. I think this movie kind of like, I don't know why I didn't connect fully with it, but like people love this movie. Like it's like it got like very high ratings, but I gave it 3.5. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed watching it, and I think at the time it may have been seen as offensive because he is portraying someone with cerebral palsy, so he's like,
but it's not being played off
for laughs. No, it's
all.
not. But it's kind of like,
and obviously Daniel Day-Lewis is doing it, so it's like he's going like full in on doing the best he can.
Yeah, I could see why people might have been like, is this like really necessary? Like this is a little bit much. Yeah, like, he's not actually. But like
you get him to do it, like he's gonna do.
I know he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it right, but and he's gonna do it respectfully. I'm just saying, I think that I could have seen that being a topic at the time, but I liked it a lot. I think it was good, but one thing that really bothered me, and it's gonna bother you if you ever watch this now, and anybody listening, the opening like credits, the lens is like dirty, and it's got like specks and shit all over it.
Oh no!
To the point where I was like, if I see this happen I'm gonna watch like 20 minutes of this. If it's dirty the whole time, I'm turning it off because I'm not watching this because my eyes are never gonna adjust to that because it's all over the screen.
That
so
is
the
awful.
opening credits are like just know that it's not like that the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it's the opening credits for whatever reason the lens are filthy and it's just got shit all over it. Maybe that was the point. I don't know. But it
probably was, but it's just like it
did not work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It was really bad. So yeah, that's that on that.
I got 2 for 30.
I do too.
You got 2 also?
Yeah, I got 2 also. So you do one.
I'll
do one. You do, yeah.
So I picked out 2 movies to watch because I was like, I need kind of short movies to watch today. I'm on the 30th. I'm running out of time. I want to watch 8 movies. I need to watch 2 today. I need to hit double digits at least. So I was like, okay, I'll watch Killing Them Softly and Election. Election looks like it's going to be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It'll be kind of like, a good movie. Easy watching movie. So I'll watch Election first. It did not end up being like that at all. It was very different. I only say I think it was going to be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off because the same actor is in it. And this movie plays the teacher. And I'm trying to watch this at work, and they're showing like sex stuff, and they're talking about gross stuff like that. I'm like, why? I thought this was going to be the okay movie to watch at work. Because then I could later watch Killing Them Softly, which ended up being the okay movie I could have watched at work.
Funny. And
this movie, I was very surprised how much I liked it. I was going to give it 4 stars at one point, but it kind of just ends, and it ends like, everything kind of wraps up in this nice little way, like a normal kind of movie. So I gave it 3.5. I really liked it. The whole premise of the movie is around I don't know what the actor's name is because I don't remember his name in the movie. Ferris Bueller plays Ferris Bueller. Matthew Broderick.
Yep.
He is a teacher, and there's this girl who's like a goody two shoes. Like, I'm gonna work so hard and just keep working
Is that Reese
nonstop.
Witherspoon?
Yeah, if that's who you're thinking it is.
The blonde girl. Yeah, Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, she's really good in this movie because she plays that role perfectly. Like being like that. I'm gonna just work hard. I have to work hard, and being like almost angry at other people because it's shown that she's like, I'm not mad that these people don't have to do anything. So she's like working so hard, and he's like, this kid, like, I don't want to, like, she's so annoying. I don't want to work with her, like, cause she's running to be like the school body president for the senior class, and she's like, I don't want to. He's like, I don't want to work with this girl. Like, I don't want to. So and he's watching this porno, and it's about this football, like, player and the cheerleader, and he's like, oh, I know, Paul. And this guy Paul is such like he's so empty-minded and dumb and like just like a nice just idiot guy. And he's like this popular kid whose like family's good and he has like his family's rich sorta and he has a nice truck and he's popular. He's like, I'll get him to do it because he's a football guy and you guys like her. And then throughout the whole movie, he's just like, I hope you have, like, we get a good election. Like, I'm really glad you're running against me. And he means it, like, wholeheartedly. Like, that's how stupid and just like empty-minded he is. And I ended up really liking this movie. And also the teacher has things that he's doing in his life that isn't great. At one point he gets stung in the eye by a bee and I'm like, Jesus Christ. So he gets stung in the eye and it's slowly like days go by in his eye. You can see his eye just getting more and more swollen and closed. And it's just like awful. But yeah, I ended up really liking this movie. I gave it 3.5 stars.
Very good. I watched on the 30th my first film of the day, was Zola. It's an A24 movie.
Oh, that's right. Yep,
It's the new A24 movie. I saw it in theaters. My first A24 film in theaters since Uncut Gems.
Wow, yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yep.
To be fair, they haven't released anything since Uncut Gems,
Yeah.
but it's still crazy. It's been a long time. Almost. It's been longer since we've seen an MCU movie in theaters. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
But yeah, Zola. It's a crazy movie. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's kind of like this weird, crazy night of these two like strippers. They go. The main character Zola goes to Florida for the weekend because her friend that she just met basically says like, Florida's got money there. We can go and dance there. And it'll be great, and then we'll come home.
Yeah.
And then she goes there with this girl, and she lied. That's not the case. It's like, it's Florida. So like
Yeah, it's
there's
crazy.
like these guys sitting there with no teeth, and they're giving them like dollars.
Florida is such a crazy state.
I know.
It's just awful.
I know. And so
yeah.
they went there, did the dances, and she's like, why did I think Tampa was going to be like different? This is terrible. And then she makes no money there. It's terrible. But then things take the A24 turn.
Okay.
And it becomes something else. So you find out that there's this guy that's with them. There's two guys that are with them. There's one guy who's like this older guy, the guy from Euphoria.
Okay, yeah.
This older guy, he's there with them. And you're kind of like, what's this old guy doing? And then there's this guy, this white guy, who is basically the not Zola, but the other stripper's boyfriend.
Yeah.
She has a baby with him and all this stuff, and he's there with her to like support her and whatever. And so he's there. They go to this hotel, and they're like, all right, guy, you stay here. Like, you don't need to come with us to the strip club. So he's like, okay. So he's there with no car, nothing. And then you find out that this older guy is a pimp, and he's their pimp.
Okay, yeah.
So things take a little bit of a dark turn. And I thought it was going to really go dark.
Okay.
It's kind of still more fun, but I thought it was going to be fucked up.
Really bad.
I thought it was going to be fucked up. So basically, they go to the strip club, they do their thing, then he's like, all right, well, now we're going to make the real money. And that's like prostitution.
Oh, to two girls?
So, yeah.
Oh,
so he's
yeah.
like, and the one girl knows about it, but Zola does not.
Yeah.
And go to this hotel, and they're supposed to like have sex with these fucking guys, like a bunch of guys. And it's really messed up.
Yeah.
And so Zola's like, I'm not doing that. And then he like just breaks on her, and he's like, you're doing it. Like, you're going to make all this money for me. And then she ultimately doesn't do it. And then the other girl does. And then it becomes like more fun because it's like Zola figures out a way. She's like, you just made $150 for like fucking some dude. Like, you should be like charging a lot more than $150.
Yeah.
She says like, that's worth like at least like $500 to like have sex with you. And so she's like, all right, well then let's try it. So then she kind of spearheads the night.
Oh, okay.
And then she like posts a photo of her on this like the backdoor ad, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
This like, whatever you buy, I don't know how it works, but like whatever, it's like social media for that.
Yeah.
And so then they all start like buying her, and it's like, oh, you're gonna make $5. So then she makes like $8,000 that night.
Jesus Christ.
And then so the guy's like,
God.
the guy's like, holy shit, like I've been doing this all wrong. And then it becomes like this whole thing where they're doing their thing. And then it takes a few more dark turns, but it's ultimately, first of all, it's based on a true story.
Oh, okay.
And it's from a very famous Twitter thread from Zola, from actual Zola.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she's tweeting the whole time about this night. She's like, all right, I got a crazy story for you guys. Like, it's kind of long.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then, so after she survived this whole thing, she goes back and she tweets like 140 tweets of this whole story. And then A24 obviously saw that and they're like, oh, we could make this a thing. And
That's
then,
crazy.
so then they got Zola on board to produce it.
Oh, that's great. So she's actually a producer.
She's involved with it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
so she did that. And then, yeah, it was wacky and it was wild. It's not up there for me.
Yeah,
for
I mean, 3.5.
It's
yeah.
fine. It's like mid-tier A24. They've done a lot better, but like this was a fun, like, in line with like first of all, these are two movies that show like how fucking horrible Florida is with this and the Florida Project. So I'm just like, oh wow.
Yeah, Florida's awful.
Yeah, so that's that, and I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. I don't think, I'm trying to think of what I would compare. I would compare it to like Spring Breakers, but it's a little bit better than Spring Breakers. But it's the same kind of energy, and whole vibe that they're going for, especially with like the girls and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I might go see it now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, if it's still around here.
Yeah, not bad.
And then later that night, I watched Killing Them Softly, and oh man, this movie was such a letdown. It was so bad. I gave it 2.5. Honestly, I'd give it like 2 now.
Oh man.
It was, cause now I have some time away from it.
I heard not great things.
It was such a nothing, just. Oh yeah, yeah. This is a big point I want to bring up. This feels like if the Safdie brothers were just awful and just not good, which is such a bad thing to say.
So specific.
Because there's a scene in the movie where they rob somebody and it's giving me Safdie vibes, but it's not done well.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just not well made and done. It's in 2012, so this predates like really any well-known Safdie brother movie. So it's
Yeah.
not like I can
say that.
say
They
that,
stole
but
that, you know.
basically it's these three people. This guy, he owns some sort of front, and he's like a mobster kind of guy, and he's like, okay, we're gonna hit this kind of open gambling place with all, because I guess people are gambling, and the guy Ray Liotta, who plays this guy, basically he hit his own place as like a joke before. So they're like, he's not going to do it again. Like if we go there and rob him, we're going to be really smart. They're going to think he did it to himself again, and they're just going to kill him, and we'll get away scot-free. And it does end up happening. And this movie was just so, and the whole backdrop of the movie is the 2008 economic collapse, which has nothing to do with the movie in any way. Maybe at the end because I was watching it and I'm like, is Brad Pitt even in the movie? I thought he was in the movie, and he's in the movie, and he does a fine job. And I think this is what kind of started him doing the whole indie movie A24 stuff, because he produces a lot of A24 movies. He's producer on a lot of them, surprisingly.
Really?
I think this is what got him going on that, because this movie's not that good. What's it called? The guy from Sopranos, the main actor.
Gandolfini?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
in this. And the whole reason he's in this is to kill the guy that Brad Pitt knows, because he like knows a guy, and he's like, I want to. But his whole point, the movie's called Kill Him Softly, because I want to kill them softly. I don't want to be near them when I kill them. I want to be far away. I don't want to get any emotions involved, because when you kill someone you know, it gets all messed up.
Yeah.
I want to be far away when I kill them. The whole point he's there is to kill this guy, and he doesn't even do it. So he's just in the movie for like no reason. And it comes off, and I'm like, this is just so... I'm so glad this movie's only 90 minutes. Because even in this 90 minutes, it felt like there was so much extra stuff that was just not needed in the movie. Like, the whole Gandolfini stuff was like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That was just like, why is this even in the movie? Because what ends up happening is there's this one rat nasty looking guy that's like Australian, and he reminds me of Devin, because he's like just dirty and nasty and awful.
Jesus Christ.
And he does like heroin in the movie. And even this in the movie, this is like a 5-minute segment where he's taking heroin, he's getting high, and he keeps zoning in and out. And it's supposed to be the effect is that, like, you know, they keep changing camera angles and stuff and making it, like, black and, like, weird effects and stuff. Where it's supposed to be, like, he's zoning in and coming back in where the guy's talking to him. But it's so annoying. Like, it's done well, but it's just so not... It doesn't, like, the whole point of it is just annoying in the movie. And, like, the scene ends, like, 5 seconds after they stop doing the effects. So there was, like, literally no reason to do this. I really just did not enjoy this movie. And it just ends. Again, it's just... Oh, no. This is the only reason I gave it a 2.5 instead of 2. When they have someone get killed, it's done very, very well. It's very clean. Like, they kill Ray Liotta in it, and it's all slow-mo, and it's really clean and cool. And then at the end, one of the guys so there's 2 guys that do, like, the gambling robbery, and it's not the fucked up Australian, like, druggy guy. It's this other guy, and he's like, you're going to show me who set you up for this. And then they're like, for some reason, he doesn't, like, try to leave and escape. He just does it with him. And then they're like, okay, you know what to do. Like Brad Pitt's like, you know what to do. We're going to park the car and leave here. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then he gets in he gets in the driver's seat, and Brad Pitt just kills him so clean and swift. It was so unexpected. I was like, that was really clean.
Yeah.
Why couldn't the whole movie be like this?
Right.
It was just so not good. Apparently he made another movie with Brad Pitt, which is...
I heard, yeah.
It was actually apparently
more
good.
recent one?
It's older. It's 2008. It's the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of something else.
That's
the one. No, he did the other one. Never mind. He did another one with Christian Bale. The Furnace or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
But apparently that movie's done well. I want to see that movie, because if it's more like some of the sparse scenes in this movie that was actually really good, and I mean, I've seen the ratings on Letterwatchd are pretty good. I hope it's more good, because this movie was just not a fun watch. I get no just 2.5.
My last movie was The Conspiracy, which is a movie that Devin has been recommending to me for quite some time. It is a documentary that I thought was real. So there you go. I thought this was a real movie, which is so effective. I did get tipped off by the end though, because I was like, oh fuck, this movie's basically about these two guys are making a documentary about like conspiracy theories, and like they're interviewing specifically this one man who is like kind of this like wild conspiracy theory guy. And then he just goes missing, and you're like, what the fuck happened? And then it takes a dark turn, and then it becomes Eyes Wide Shut. And like,
really,
yeah, it's
wow.
pretty cool. I thought it was really good. Devin recommended this to me because we're gonna do a film about like subliminal advertisements, and he said we should take an approach similar to this, where it's like a documentary format. And then we sort of kind of nailed that down. And yeah, some of it was really effective, especially the ending. It gets really dark, and there was a point in the movie where it was actually terrifying, and scared the shit out of me, but that's the point where I was like, this is not real.
Yeah,
this
because
is fake.
You can tell if
it got too much.
in a documentary.
If it's like too high drama.
If it's too much,
like,
then you're like, okay, it's not, because drama. Documentary. I don't know why that word escapes me. Documentaries, if they get too real, like, they're not real.
Right. So that was the whole thing. I was like, this is very scary, but I don't think this happened.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up, and then it was like, oh, this makes Blair Witch look like, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And I was just, I read that, and I was like, oh, it is fake then. I'm like, It's a fake movie. And then I thought back to the movie, and there's a lot of like overacting in it. So I was like, all right, maybe this is fake. Still, quite cool and very effective.
What was this on?
It was on Shudder.
Oh.
So I don't have Shudder. I did free trial for this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I'm gonna look at some more stuff on Shudder. Because there's like some really cool like weird movies on there. Yeah, I would recommend it though. 3.5 stars. I liked it. I watched it on the 30th, which was the last day of the month, which brings us to the end of Letterwatchd episode 3. Join us next month.
Wait, hold up now. We
What?
gotta do our pandemic pick.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, I'm gonna keep. We gotta stick to this.
I'm ready to go. That's why.
Yeah. You want to go?
Pandemic pit.
Okay. Want me to
Go
go?
ahead.
You want to go?
You
Okay.
go.
So I'm a little conflicted this month because I'm stuck between two movies. One, obviously the two I'm stuck with are Chinatown and Road to Perdition. I liked Road to Perdition more, but I think Chinatown was more well made.
Okay.
So for right now, I'm going to pick Road to Perdition. I think later, I'm going to rewatch Chinatown, like it more. But for now, that Road to Perdition was just so good. It caught me off guard so much. Maybe that's also why I liked it so much. But I think Chinatown was just, for my first viewing, for me a little bit confusing. I got like 95% of it. Just some of the little things I got confused about. So I think I definitely had to rewatch both these movies. But for this month, my pandemic pick is Road to Perdition.
My pandemic pick is Boogie Nights.
Yes.
Really liked it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. Okay. There you go. There you have it. Join us next month for our July Letterwatchd, where we will talk about everything that we watched in the month of July. I'm sure we will both have an MCU movie in it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, if you did. And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Mayhem Pictures, youtube.com/Mayhem Pictures. Follow us on whatever social media platforms. And, yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening.
Ah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.